Welcome back to Success with Steven. On this channel, we talk about business, finance tips, and everything financial literacy. Today, I'm making a video on something that I've got requested very frequently. It's how to remove repossessions from your credit report. And this is going to be, in my opinion, the most comprehensive step-by-step guide to removing repossessions that is currently on YouTube to date. And we're going to go through, not only are we going to go through step by step, we're going to actually go through the example where I recently removed two repossessions on one credit report. Currently, there's a third one that's still on there that is still on the report, but I'm going to take you through the entire process, exactly what we did step by step, and I'm going to give you verbiage and give you all the tools that you need to be able to do the same thing. So if you're not subscribed to this channel, please like and subscribe. Turn on your notification bell for new videos. I usually release 2 to 3 videos per week, and these are tips that you won't find anywhere else on YouTube, with step-by-step guide, real examples. Any information that I've given, you will see from previous videos. If this is your first time on my channel, everything that I do is things that I have done before and things that I can speak to because they're my own personal experiences or I've personally done them. So without further ado, let's get right into the video. So one thing that we're going to take a look at before we get into the step-by-step process, we're going to just talk about exactly what a repossession is. And this is just going to be for people who will have this question or concerns when it comes to identifying these types of accounts. And you also know, if you're new to my channel, if you're old, then you know I'm big on understanding information more than just telling you what to do. My biggest thing is I want you to be able to understand how these things work, be able to identify them and define them. And then I think that that really helps with the process of getting these things removed. So I want to first go over what is a repossession, because I've gone through a couple of comments where I talked about it, but I feel like this is the first time we're going to go over it in great detail. So a repossession occurs when a creditor takes possession of the collateral. Now, the collateral that people usually associate repossessions with is a car. Even though a repossession can happen on other types of items, it doesn't have to just be a car. So a repossession occurs when a creditor takes possession of the collateral, i.e., if you got a car, they take the car back, that you put up when taking out a loan. Here's how that works. Before a lender agrees to lend you money for a car purchase, you must agree to guarantee payment of the loan with the vehicle. That's the contract. The contract creates a lien in favor of the lender. The lien allows the lender to take the car, sell it, and apply the sales proceeds to the loan if you default on your payment. If the auction price isn't enough to pay off the loan, you'll still owe the remainder, called a deficiency balance. The lender releases the lien on the car after you pay the loan balance. So this is the reason why when you get a vehicle, you sign a contract and you do not have the title. The bank keeps the title, or the original lender keeps the title of the vehicle. They keep the title because they still own it until you pay it in full. That's what gives them the right to repossess the car. And that's the reason why a repossession can be any type of item where you're putting up the collateral and then they're able to take it back, which is the lien. All right. So just like when you hear a lien on a house, that's because something happened with the home where maybe you put it up for collateral, something of that nature. You weren't able to meet whatever contractual obligations that you promised, and now there is a lien on your home to take that home back, to take that property. Okay, so just keep that in mind, that that's the only identifying factor of a repossession, which is why you don't see credit cards as repossessions. Okay. Now, I want to talk about the difference between a repossession and a charge-off. Again, if you're familiar with this channel, then you would know on a lot of my videos, I've been talking about removing charge-offs because For collections, we know the results. We've seen them. People are getting the collections removed by watching my video on removing collections, on removing hard inquiries, on removing personal information. Those are very easy to take care of. But charge offs are account specific. And some people didn't realize, but a repossession is a repossession and a charge off can be the same thing and not the same thing. And I'll explain. A charge off is an accounting term, it's just a term. A charge off simply means that the account has been removed from the company's books because no payment has been made in between 120 to 180 days, depending on the type of account. If you let a credit card go for 180 days, by federal law, it has to be charged off. For vehicles, it's 120 days. It has to be charged off because you have not made a payment. All right. Repossessions, as mentioned prior, is when collateral is taken back. And this can occur with property other than cars, such as furniture, jewelry, other personal property. Anything where you pledged to secure a loan can be repossessed as long as the lender follows the state laws. And then that can vary from state to state. Okay. And again, the federal law requires a lender to charge off a credit card debt when it is 180 days late. A car loan or installment loan must be charged off when it is 120 days late. So if you have a car where the car hasn't been paid on for 4 months, that car can be charged off right before it's repossessed. So you can have a charge off before you have a repossession on a vehicle. And then you can have a charge off and a repossession. I'll give you examples so that way you can see what I'm talking about. But you just want to keep in mind that the only difference between a repossession and a charge off is that they took the item back and then you didn't make any payments, then they charged it off. And then we'll talk about what that looks like with the vehicle, because then you can identify this on your credit report if you're looking at a repossession. So then that would probably, in my opinion, beg the question, can a car loan be charged off without a repossession? So, like I was saying, it's possible to charge off a loan without having the dealer repossessed or the lender repossess the car. So as stated earlier, car loans are supposed to be charged off if no payment has been made for 120 days. But unsecured debt like credit cards or medical accounts can stay on the books until they're 180 days old. Usually, a lender will repossess the collateral and sell it long before 120 days pass. So the thing is, for an example, you can have a car that got repossessed because you didn't pay for 90 days, for 3 months. A bank, lender, creditor, whoever gave you the loan to get the vehicle, they can then repossess the car. Now you have a repossession on your credit because you haven't paid it in 90 days. Then the lender can sell the car in auction. Whatever they get for the car, which will usually be much less than what your loan is, they'll put that towards the loan, and then the remaining balance is now a charge off. So that's how we get a repossession that's been charged off. All right. So almost always the proceeds of the sale will not be enough to cover what's owed on the loan. Of course, it wouldn't make sense for them to repossess the vehicle. I'm sure in some special cases, maybe there was a situation where the car value was almost able to cover the remaining balance on the loan. And most lenders will need to charge off the remaining balance. Now, for charge offs like credit cards, most of the time, you've never seen me talk about challenging the balance. That's one key difference with repossessions. If they sold a car and it sold at auction for an amount and the charge off amount is different, you can dispute that and actually get it removed for inaccuracy. That's a side note, but that's just an example of when we can actually use the balance. You usually never see me do that on credit cards, but on repossessions, yes. So no law requires the lender to repossess the collateral before charging off the loan. So what we're saying is someone can come take your property, your vehicle, your motorcycle, your boat, whatever it is that, again, that's what the repossession is. They're taking back whatever the thing is that you were paying off. No law requires the lender to repossess the collateral before charging it off. So you can get a repossession before a charge off. And the lender can choose to do it the other way around or could choose not to repossess the car at all. So you can actually have a charged off car that hasn't been repossessed. That can happen. In those type of situations, because I'm sure that'll be a question. What I would challenge you to try to figure out is, if you had a car that was charged off but they didn't repossess it, how are you going to acquire the title for proof of ownership to sell that car or trade in that car? I mean, I guess you could just sell it to anybody, but without a title, it's going to be hard for them to get it registered or to do anything else to legally drive that vehicle. And then who knows what type of Grand Theft Auto they could put on that, because technically, wouldn't it be stolen? That's just food for thought. I don't know the exact details because, again, I'm talking about very unique scenarios. There's a lot of different ways that this can go, and it just varies. But the point is that even if a car hasn't been seized and taken from you, doesn't mean that you still own it. And if that's the case, even if you get a charge off removed, a repossession that's been charged off, or a car auto loan that's been charged off, even if you get it deleted, that doesn't make that car yours. Just bear that in mind. So, again, the lender can choose to do it the other way around or could choose not to repossess the car at all. The lender might be forced to forego repossession if the car can't be located or if the car's value is less than it would cost to sell at auction. For instance, if the car was totaled in an accident, the lack of a repossession doesn't alter the need to charge off the loan or prevent the lender from selling the charge off loan to a debt buyer. So that's another good situation that we could talk about. Let's say you had an auto loan where the car got totaled out, so there wasn't a car to repossess, but they charged off your auto loan. In that situation, you'll see most of the time, the original lender will end up selling the debt to a debt buyer. Now, when they sell it to a debt buyer, we all know about the double jeopardy rule. At least if you've watched my videos, then you know. You can't have a charge-off account and a collection account on the same credit report because that debt's been sold. So you can actually look at your credit report if you have a repossession. If you have a collection for the repossession, you can now get the charge-off deleted, and then you can watch my collection video to remove that collection. Now they're both deleted. And I'm going to give you a scenario where I think the example that I have covers almost, I think, all of these topics and then some. Now, again, the need to charge off the loan or prevent the lender from selling the charge off loan to a debt buyer. Remember my other charge off video where I just talk about charge off like accounts in general? A debt buyer usually will purchase an auto loan that's been charged off because a debt buyer has the intention to sue. A collection agency buys small balances and they try to collect. They try to buy it for like pennies on the dollar and then try to collect for the full amount or a good amount that will be more than what they pay for it at the very least. A debt buyer buys a debt because the price is very high and they have the intention to sue you because they know that they'll have verifiable information to prove it. And they can be successful when that does happen, especially if, you don't show up to court. Now, that's something that I'm not going to go over because I am not an attorney, I'm not a financial advisor, and I don't handle anything legal. What I can say is you can Google this and look at examples of what happened, and then you can consult a lawyer when it comes to that information. But what I can say is the number one reason that people get sued is because they get served and never show up to court. If you don't go to court, you automatically lose. It's in favor of the plaintiff if you don't show up. That's it. You automatically lose. So if there's one thing that I can say, don't avoid it. Show up. Because you showing up, you're very likely to see Well, if you don't show up at all, it's already a given. It's just a matter of time. When your wages get garnished, then you'll just see it. Show up to court and consult an attorney and do some research. But I can't advise you on that. But it's just something to keep in mind because, excuse me, if you do get this account deleted from a debt buyer, and you can Google all the most popular debt buyers. We all, if you're watching this and you have some, they're all the same. You'll know who they are. They don't always sue, but they usually buy debt with the intention of suing. That's the reason why they buy such large amounts. That's the intention. And of course, they know the consumer law, so they know, and they know a lot of people don't show up. So just keep that in mind when you're getting these removed. And I would say you can always weigh your pros and cons. For example, you can get an account deleted from your credit report. And then before anything happens, and this is only if they maybe are seeking legal action. I would only if they're seeking it. If they're not seeking it, I'm not going to do anything. But let's say that they were, or you maybe got the hint that it was coming. You can call them and try to negotiate for a lower price. So let's say that originally you had a car loan for $10,000 and they're willing to work out a payment plan for you to pay 50%. So now you got to pay $5,000 and maybe you pay it in like a installment plan over the next 6 months. That's still half, and your credit report is clean. So now you can also, get loans from other lenders. So in that situation, it's not like, it's a better situation than the alternative. Or you show up to court, you handle it that way, and you may not have to pay anything. I don't know. It just depends. These are all hypothetical situations, but I try to address all the questions. That way you're aware of what can occur in the event that all these accounts get deleted, because it's not just so much that we need to just get them deleted. It's that we need to understand what these accounts are, what are the repercussions of removing them from our credit report, and what are the advantages of moving them from our credit report, because there are some advantages. What could be the potential cons? In any event, no matter which way it goes, a debt buyer can potentially sue you, even if you don't remove it from your credit report. So if you ask me what my personal opinion is, I would always delete it, because if I'm going to get sued anyway, potentially, I might as well have a clean credit report. You know what I'm saying? But again, each situation is different and it's on a case by case basis. And if it comes to anything legal, you need to consult someone who deals in that specifically, even if it's just a consultation, just to get their opinion on how they would handle it. That is my recommendation, because there are people who specialize in dealing with debt buyers and law practice, and then it varies by state. So I would definitely look at that in the future. Now, I'm looking at an example from February the 6th, 2024. This is actually an account that I worked on, and I'm just going to preface this by saying these are 3 repossessions. There are 3 different types. And I was also able to get 2 of them deleted. And this is a situation where they were deleted in about 3 to 4 weeks. It doesn't always happen this fast. This is an ideal situation. Excuse me, I'm sorry. It's an ideal situation. And I just want to make note of that, because then I have other people who have not gotten any repossessions deleted, and some people who are still dealing with them, or some things come off in, round 4 or 5, but we'll go over that. So on example 1, as we can see, this account was a repossession, and it looks like it was purchased by a debt buyer, and it went to Consumer Portfolio Services. Now, this account was opened March 11, 2017. It was closed and written off with a balance of $16,477. And the last status update was August 2022. And the original balance was $22,809. So clearly, they must have sold the vehicle once it was repossessed. And they took the difference, and the remaining was $16,477. Now, as you can see, the car was late in December of 2018, late 2019, up until January, February, March, April, and then it was repossessed in May of 2019. And after that, it was showing as repossessed and then it was charged off. Now, the way that we got this account deleted is by repeated charge off. Looking at this report right now, do you see how every month it says CO, 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 CO? That is extending the statute of limitations. That is inaccurate. Once an account is charged off, from the date it's charged off, it should not have any more activity on this account. So we actually got this account deleted for two reasons, but believe it or not, but the first one is, one, this was showing up on the report more than one time at purchased by a debt buyer, and it was also a charge off. And then we also had the inaccurate reported information, the repeating charge off for several months, extending the statute of limitation. All right. But I just want to have you look at this account, and those were two things that you could have used off the rip to dispute. Again, if this is your first time on my channel, you've never seen my videos, I'm going to show you step by step how, if you were looking at something like this, what you would look for, what you would identify, and what you would use to remove your repossession. All right. So again, if we're looking at this, if you have your credit report, I recommend pulling it from annualcreditreport.com. I also use Experian, but annualcreditreport.com is completely free. You can get your report once a week as of today's date. Okay, that could change in the future. It used to be once a year. Then COVID happened. They made it once a week. It's continued to be once a week. This may change in the future. So if you're watching this video and it's several months later, a year later, however much time has passed, you may have to double check that because things may have changed. Regardless, if you can potentially get your report from annualcreditreport.com, get your report. It is the only report that you could get that is it's overseen by federal law. So the government actually made it a law that this particular place has to provide you with your full credit report once a year. Now it's once a week currently, but at least once a year. So that way you get the full information. I always recommend getting this one now because there's information that you probably won't see. Again, a lot of the reports don't show the repeated charge off. A lot of them don't. A lot of them don't show that this car was like when the repossession started here. And look at this. It went 30, 60, 60, 90. Even that is inaccurate reporting. Now, adjusting a late payment doesn't necessarily warrant a deletion, but we would be looking at different things that we can use. This one would be like a weaker type of argument, but still, it's inaccurate. So I'm just giving you, those are, just looking at this again, it's three different ones I got right off the bat. And this is only from Experian. You can also compare all three. Let's say I had TransUnion and Equifax pulled up as well. If Equifax had 30, 60, 90, 120 repossession, now I can dispute that the information is different across multiple bureaus. If the information is coming from the same data furnisher, it should always be the same. That could have been a fourth one. So I've already given you 4 ways you could get this account deleted. Okay. Here is example 2. Now for example 2, this is a different repossession. This is with Credit Acceptance Corporation. Now this one was open March 17th, 2023. The balance was $21,493, and the original the original balance was $19,033. All right. So as you can see here, we had a late payment started in August, and it went 30, 60, 90, repossession. All right. So on here, we have some repossession dates, but I don't see that the account was actually ever charged off, right? So we don't have any type of charge off information on this account. It was just repossessed. So we can dispute that. We also have a past due amount of $3,160 past due as of January 2024, We could take a look at that, but we can also compare all three reports and see if any of our information is actually inconsistent. And that's the other thing. Inconsistent information is one of the best ways to get an account deleted. And this one, as I believe, did have some inconsistent information. I only have the Experian report, but you would put them side by side. You would compare them and find what is the difference between them. And then we would use that to get it deleted. Like, for example, if the balances were different, we could look at that for this one. This one doesn't have the repeated charge off amount, but then if we look at the account, if it's in a charge off status, it never was actually charged off. So how can you have an account that's shown as a charge off on one bureau but not a charge off on another? These are all things that we can use to get the account deleted. And this is the example number 3. I believe this is the account that's still currently active. I'd have to check with this individual to make sure that it got deleted. I think it was still being worked on, but if I have an update, I'll post it in the comments, because I probably will have an update on this last one in probably like the next month or so. So depending on when you're watching this, look in the bottom of the description and let me know. Look there, not let me know, excuse me, but like look there and see if I updated this in the future to make sure that this one got deleted too. But without you having to really look too hard, I'm sure you can already see it's repeating charge off every single month. Easy one, right? What my goal is to have you guys look at accounts and you're able to tell right off the bat what's the problem. So the original balance was $14,013. The balance is $7,958. So clearly they sold the vehicle at auction. The remaining balance is $7,958. Now, if we go to, let's say, the TransUnion and Equifax report, but the balance is $14,000, we have an inconsistent reporting balance. We can now dispute that and say this account is inaccurate. And then you can screenshot this same account, go to TransUnion and say, hey, basically you use the same thing. If the balance isn't consistently the same across all three bureaus, it's incorrect. It doesn't matter which one has the right balance. It's just that we can play them against each other. If you're 7 and you're 14 and you're 9, you guys are all wrong. If you're coming from the same data furnisher, this information is inaccurate. You all need to be deleted because no one's consistent. And it's repeating charge off. You're extending the statute of limitations. The account needs to be deleted. I'm probably going to list the common inaccuracies here. If you want a list of more common inaccuracies, you can get my ultimate credit repair guide. I put that together to have templates. The templates are in a letter form, but again, for the people who've been on my channel, you know we like to do things in the most efficient manner to respect our time. Because I know we have things to do other than finance and working on this kind of stuff. You guys have lives, and I want to respect your time. So I want to put you in the best position to win by providing the information and the method that can most quickly resolve your issue, within reason. So we want to respect our time, and I want to respect your time because we have things that we have to do and get done other than just look at this stuff. So, those are, again, 2 other reasons that this account can be deleted. And that's just by looking at the account by itself. And then when we compare it to other accounts, we have examples. Now, this was on February 29th from this same person. Credit acceptance got removed, and the consumer portfolio S got removed, and also a Wells Fargo account got removed. So just if we go back, that was this account with credit acceptance was deleted. This account with consumer portfolio was deleted. Both of these got deleted. We did not get a deletion on OneMain. I think OneMain is still currently being worked on. Again, if it gets deleted, I will update in the description when that happens so you guys have a time frame. So in this situation, it was ideal. It only took a couple of weeks. By February 29th, 2024, we had 2 repossessions deleted. We also had a Wells Fargo account deleted. Again, this is an ideal situation. It doesn't always happen that fast. I'm very happy that for this individual, it happened that fast, but it doesn't always happen that fast. But I'm going to give you the steps in the process in order for you to do it the exact same way that this person did it in a very timely fashion. Okay? So again, if you guys are familiar with my channel, you know that I submit all of my disputes through the CFPB. I do not write letters. I used to write letters. I just found that I got the same results by doing everything online. And the way it works, we submit complaints through the CFPB, which I will show you how to do later in this video. And we submit 3 rounds first. The reason why we submit 3 rounds, and the reason why I'm repeating this, is because I get a lot of comments asking the same exact question. You need to do an investigation, a reinvestigation, and then you tell them what you're disputing. And I'm going to tell you again why. If you read the FCRA law, the law says, and this is the only thing that's true, you are entitled to a 100% accurate report. You know what that means? If anything is wrong with that report, it needs to be deleted. If an account has one thing that's inaccurate, it has to be deleted or updated. Let me clarify, deleted or updated. And the credit bureaus choose which one that they do. But it tells you after any reinvestigation. So that lets me know, one, first I need to ask them to investigate it. 2, I need to ask them to reinvestigate it. Okay. And then 3, after they've confirmed 2 times that this account was accurate, they confirmed it twice, right? Now I'm going to say, okay, you say you looked at my account and you say that this account was accurate, but if you actually look here, here's an inaccuracy. And your neglect to maintain a 100% accurate reporting is violating my consumer rights. This account needs to be deleted. That's how it works. One of 2 things happens. They either update the account or they delete it. I'll say this, the older the account is, the more likely they'll delete it. Why? The longer you have history that's inaccurate, the least likely they are to try to update all that information. The newer it is, the more likely they are to just update the information instead of deleting it. That's why you have to build this case when you're doing it. You can't just ask for a deletion, because then they'll throw out your dispute, say it's verified, or they'll update the information right away and you lose options to dispute with it in the first place. So bear that in mind. That's why you need to follow this process. You got to follow this process. And I'm going to just kind of go over it with you so that you understand exactly what we're looking for. So round 1, again, I don't write letters. I take these complaints. I use this exact verbiage. This is the exact verbiage I use to delete these accounts. So round 1, recently I looked at a copy of my credit report and noticed several inaccuracies on my account. You never say what the inaccuracy is. If you say what the inaccuracy is, they'll either throw it out or they'll update it. Don't say what the inaccuracy is. This account is hurting my ability to obtain credit. It's my understanding that the credit bureaus will investigate this account for me to ensure accuracy. Here is the account I am asking you to verify as accurate. Enter the account name, enter the account number. When you submit this through the CFPB, everyone gets the same response. And people ask me about that, so I want to clarify it so that's not a question. They always say, we have 60 days to close this. They always say that. Everyone gets the same response. We have 60 days to close this account. That's normal. People will email me and leave comments like, they're worried. That's normal. Everyone gets it. Everyone here will get that. We respond in 60 days. After you submit your complaint through the CFPB round 1, don't use the CFPB to monitor your complaint. Create an account on Experian.com. Create an account on Equifax.com. Create an account on TransUnion.com. Why? When you create an account and you turn on your alerts, they send you emails and notifications in real time about the status of that dispute. When they contact you back and they say dispute resolved, more than likely it's going to say the account has been verified as accurate. That's what we want. We want them to say the account is verified as accurate. That's normal. Perfect. I'm glad you verified it. Then we go back to the CFPB and we start round two. So round two goes, or will be stated here as such. I disagree with the account listed below, which still appears on my credit report. Even after your investigation, I would like this item immediately reinvestigated. The inaccuracies are highly injurious to my credit score. Enter the account name and account number. In accordance with the Fair Credit Reporting Act, and then it enters the section and subsection. Again, you can screenshot this and just copy it. You can use it verbatim. Please provide the names and business addresses of each individual with whom you verify the above. This is important. This is important. I said this in my other video about how to dispute your credit report, and I gave the example of when someone says that you owe them money, you would never just give them money or accept it as such. Or if someone told you something is true that you know is not true, what's the first thing that you're going to ask for? Proof, evidence. How can you say that I owe something or something is valid? Show me proof. What you guys have to understand is the consumer law is there for you. The burden of proof is on the credit bureaus. You don't have to prove anything. Now, you do want to give examples of what's wrong to be able to support my inaccuracy claim, but you don't have to prove anything. The burden of proof is on them, which is why sometimes, occasionally, you'll get deletions from just round two. Because in round two, you're going to ask for the business address of each individual with whom you verified the above so that you can follow up. Please send me an updated copy of my credit report, after the reinvestigation, but you want to ask them for the name, the correspondence, who you spoke with, what day, everything. Reason being, and I've talked about this before, but I haven't really addressed it too much. The credit bureaus don't talk to anybody specifically. They have a system called eOscar that breaks down your dispute into a code called Metro 2, a 2-digit code. Every dispute that you submit is broken down into a 2-digit code. It goes to the eOscar system of the person that you're disputing it with, and they verify the information that way. That's the reason why I make it a point to always say, before you start doing a dispute, clean up your personal information. If there is an address that's tied to a repossession, they can verify that repossession just by looking at the address. If you've moved, delete that old address. Delete every old address on your credit report except for the one that, of course, you live at. And if that just so happens to be the one attached to that account, then so be it. That's just your address. But if that account was open when you live somewhere else, delete all the old information. Delete it, everything. That's going to help. They can't verify if you remove the old information. Another thing, because this came up a lot too, and please, I hope that you guys don't skip through the video and listen to the whole thing, because all this information is important. I have a video. There's a video that I have on my channel that shows you how to remove personal information in about 24 hours, and it can all be done online. Every once in a while, everyone sees this. There's going to be an address that you can't delete online because it's going to say that address is associated with an account. Those are the ones you want to be the most worried about. It tells you have to call. That is normal. When you call, please understand that this is your information. You control it, not them. When you call, all you have to do is say, I don't recognize this account. They're going to say the same thing. Okay, well, I may have to transfer you over to somebody else because it is associated with this with this account. So, and all you have to say is, I don't know that address. I don't live at that address. I don't recognize that address. I need to delete it immediately. You know what they're going to say? Okay, and they delete it. They don't pull out some information from this secret information guy that for some reason people seem to think that the credit bureau has. There is no the credit bureaus are not a government agency. They are just a regular company. That's it. They are not a government agency. They don't have a list of all your information. It's just a regular person on the phone who has to follow a procedure. I know. I worked at call centers. Just a regular person on the phone, just like you and me, who just has to follow these procedures, and they just read the rules where it says, well, if they ask you twice, then you have to delete. That's it. It's not difficult. Just get it deleted. When you get that deleted, you probably increased your chance of removing information by 50%. I just want to make note of that. All right. So please understand, this is your information. It's your responsibility to make sure anything you don't want on there is not on there. And if you leave anything on there, then that's what you want someone to have access to. So it's your choice whether or not you want to make sure to take the initiative to remove this information. It's up to you. Now, when you get to round 3, everyone's round 3 will be different. Please understand that. Round 3 is where you have to look at your report and you have to figure out what's wrong. Round 3 is the point where usually a lot of people, I think they get nervous. But this is easy, guys. The same way I told you a couple things that you can look at, it works the exact same way. You just look at it and you figure out what's wrong. Some things you could eyeball first time and see it. You know, trust me when I say that this isn't hard. You could even put 3 reports next to each other from annualcreditreport.com, hopefully, and you can say if it's not the same, that's wrong. Okay? It's very easy. So the example I'm going to use is the repeated charge off one, because 2 of the accounts had that. I know for sure that's one of the reasons that we used. But if you don't, if you want more examples, I've started doing charge off videos like at least once every week, where I go through different types of examples, like date of activity, date of last payment, status update, double jeopardy. Like, I'm going to literally do like a video that shows you almost every reason to remove a charge off, in this case repossession, for every single reason. And you can like watch those videos, look at your report, make a comparison, find a reason. That's what you're going to use for round 3. So this account was charged off on the following date. If this is applicable to your charge off, again, the repossession could not show charged off, so just keep that in mind. You just want to use the right verbiage. This account was charged off on the following date. Since then, the account has repeatedly been updated as charged off every month. This is an update in the payment history. A charged off account should not include an active payment history. This inaccurate information falsely manipulates the statute of limitations. You failed to investigate this account properly after I asked you to do it twice, and your neglect has violated my rights. I am demanding a deletion of the following account number, account name. Simple, right? I asked you to investigate one time. You didn't do it. I asked you to investigate twice. You said it was okay. I'm showing you now an actual specific detail that is inaccurate, and I can prove it's inaccurate. Now you need to delete it. When this happens, again, with the eOscar system, I don't really talk about that much, because it's like, it's almost like you don't have to know how the movie is made to enjoy the movie, right? You don't really need to like know that, but I just want you to understand that it's not like someone looking at this report just goes to a machine. If they can't verify the information, if they confirm that it is highly inaccurate, potentially it gets deleted. Remember, the repeating charge off, we had that here on this account. As you can see, many months repeating charge off. That will greatly increase the chance this account gets deleted before they update all those months. And same thing here. But this one, I believe, is still active. Again, I'll update you with that. But just these 2 were able to get deleted. So we got 2 out of 3 within 3-4 weeks. Pretty good. All right. So now that I've shown you the verbiage for round 1 through 3, and we've talked about the specific examples and how you handle round 1 and 2, again, you can screenshot this and copy and paste the information with your account number. And again, personal information. Make sure that's cleaned up first. Makes it much easier to get these deletions. We're gonna go to the CFPB, and I'm going to once again do an example of what round 3 would look like. All right, so this is the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. It is the CFPB. This is the only government credit bureau. Again, the rest of the 3 credit bureaus are just data companies. They just collect information. This is the only government entity. So we go to submit a complaint, and then you're going to scroll down and you're going to click on start new complaint. Now, if you are like me and you already have an account, then you're going to go to already submitted a complaint or created your account, and you're going to sign in. If you do not have an account, of course, you're going to do first name, last name, email, phone number, create a password, and you are going to sign up. Once you are logged in, you're going to see a blue button in the top right-hand corner. It's going to say start a new complaint. You're going to click on that button, and then you're going to get this screen, which is going to be step 1 of 5, submit a complaint. And it's going to ask you, what is the complaint about? Well, the complaint is going to be about a credit report. And just so you know, for steps 1 and for round 1 and 2, you use these exact same options. So you're going to choose credit reporting or other personal consumer report, and then credit reporting. And then we're going to go to the next step. And then when you go to what type of problem are you having, you're going to choose problem with the company's investigation into an existing problem. And yes, for round 1, you're still going to select this option. You're going to say problem with a company's investigation into an existing problem. Their investigation did not fix an error on your report. Have you already tried to fix the problem with the company? Yes, I did. Did you request information from the company? Yes, I did. Did the company provide this information? No, they did not. And you're going to click on next. And again, round 1 and 2, same thing. Except for round 1 and 2, you copy and paste the information and you put the account number and the account name. So now this is the example for round 3, where we're going to actually submit the factual dispute. So in this, for this hypothetical that I'm showing you for an example, you already did round 1, you already did round 2. The credit bureaus have already investigated and reinvestigated. So now we're on round 3. Normal response time can be like 7 to 10 days. It's fairly quick. And that's the reason why I do this instead of doing letters. Okay. You can get 4 months of work done in a couple weeks. All right. So now they're going to say, describe what happened. And we're just going to copy and paste our verbiage in there. And this account was charged off on the following date. And then we're going to fill in all the information. So as you can see here, our initial charge off date was August of 2019. So we're going to mention that this was the date. And then we're also going to grab the account number from up here, which you can see it was 400172 and then XXXXXX. Yes, if it has the X's, that is your full account number. That is the number that you will want to actually use. The one with all the X's. You want the name up here. You want the full account number. Okay. All right. So now I've added this information. The account was charged off on the following date, August 2019. Since then, it has repeatedly been updated as charged off every month, and exactly what we discussed. Now, we're going to copy the bottom part that we had where it says, what would be a fair resolution? You just copy the same thing. I asked you to do it. I'm sorry. Let's just delete that. I am demanding a deletion of the following account. And then that's the account name and account number. And it's very simple. Your dispute shouldn't really be more than 3 lines. It's very, very simple, very, very straightforward, and to the point. Here, where it says select and attach a document, you're going to use the following. You are going to add the screenshot that I just showed you that clearly lays out all the incorrect information. You're going to screenshot that. You're going to attach it as a file. You're going to add a picture of your driver's license. You're going to add a picture of your social security number or a second form of ID. You can also use your passport and birth certificate. I would recommend using 2 forms of ID. And then you want to use a proof of address. You always want to use this information when you're submitting the factual dispute. When you're submitting the investigation, I recommend you add the proof of residence, your ID, and their second form of ID. You don't need to add a picture of the item that you're disputing. Okay. So rounds 1 and 2, driver's license, your social security card, proof of address or residence at your current address. For round 3, when we're doing a factual dispute, we're actually showing what the problem is: driver's license, your social security number, your proof of address, and then a screenshot showing the actual issue. Okay. Proof of address can also be your insurance for your car, your voter registration. It could also be your utility bill, your gas bill, your internet bill, your phone bill, a bank statement. All right. Any of those things work as the proof of address. And the reason why I always say to add that is because sometimes they try to stall you out by sending you we can't identify you to know who you are. Then you have to kind of start the process over. So just be sure to add that here, and then we'll move on to the next step. Now, when they ask you the company name that you're disputing, you want to put the credit bureau name. You're going to put, let's start with Experian. You're going to click on Experian, and then you're going to add this information. So company name, Experian, social name as it appears on your credit report. Put your name as it appears, your date of birth. So and then once this information is filled out, it's going to ask you down here, do you want to complain about another company? You're going to click yes. So when you do this, here's the cool thing. You don't never dispute 2 different charge offs or repossessions at the same time on one dispute. But the cool thing is, when you're submitting this through the CFPB, you can do one account, but you can submit it to all 3 credit bureaus at the same time. But again, if you have different accounts, you have to do that separately. So if I have one account with ABC Finance Company, I submit a complaint for them, but I can send it to all 3 credit bureaus at the same time. And then if you have a collection to 123 Inc., you take 123 Inc. on its own complaint, but you can then submit it to all 3 credit bureaus at the same time. So now I'm going to go down here and I'm going to add TransUnion. So once you fill out all the information for TransUnion, it's the same exact questions. Have you already tried to fix the problem with the company? Did you request the information from the company? And you select the exact same options. Yes, yes. It's optional to put the information that you requested. Did the company provide this information? No. You're going to then add the same information. You're going to check social security, name as it appears, and date of birth. Once you're done entering all this information, you're going to add Equifax if that's applicable to you. And then you're going to go on to the next step by clicking next at the bottom. All right. So in this option, it's going to say myself. From here, you click myself and it's going to be the review page. On the review page, all you have to do is simply add your information. This is the first time that you've done it. If it's not, it should auto-populate with your first name, last name, your current address, your email, best number to contact you. There's optional information there like your gender, your age, military affiliation, all of that. You don't have to answer that. That's all optional. You can just skip that part and then submit. Once you do that, everything is completed. And that is the entire process to submit that repossession. So, that'll be it. Thank you guys. I appreciate all the support. I hope this video was very helpful, and please share it with someone who can definitely find use of the information. And you guys have a wonderful day.